Cabinet. And over to you, Acting Mayor Simon.
Thanks, Mike. Can I welcome Cabinet members, management team and members of the public who are viewing proceedings online to today's meeting. Can I ask that Cabinet members and officers leave your microphones on mute during the meeting unless or until you wish to comment. Can I also ask officers to turn off your video feed unless you wish to speak. Apologies for absence this morning have been received from Colleen Martin, Councillor Paul Brandt and Matt Ashton. Melissa Campbell is here in Matt's place. Any other apologies? No? Thanks. Item 1 on our agenda is declaration of interests. Are there any interests to declare? I'm not seeing any indications from anybody, no? Item 2, which is minutes of the last meeting on the 18th of December, which is on pages 1 to 21. Are those minutes of the last meeting agreed? Thank you. Item 3 is the Mayoral Reports, and there are none to consider. So we move on to item 4, which is Mayoral Recommendations, and we have 2 public recommendations to consider from the main agenda. The first is item 8, grants, Welsh Streets, and that's on pages 22 to 27. And the recommendation seeks approval to extend the existing Welsh Home Streets Improvement Grant Programme to include a further 2 houses located in phase 1 of the Welsh Streets. Barry, would you like to make some comments?
Yeah, it's just finishing off the phase 1 development and replacing the grant that was already agreed for 2 houses onto 2 other houses as we move into. There's no grant in the phase 2, and then we'll move into towards phase 3.
Thanks, Barry. Any other comments? No? Are the recommendations as set out in the report agreed? Yep. Thank you. Item B, which is the St John's Market Rental and Service Charges Report, and that's on pages 21 to 25. And the recommendation seeks approval to introduce revised rental and service charge payment terms for market traders. Sharon, would you like to make any comments?
Yes, thank you. I'm sure members will be aware that since 2017 we have been financially supporting market traders following a refurbishment. Unfortunately now we're in the position with the council financially where we, since about 2010 we've had 450 million cut from our council budgets and currently in consultation to save another 15.4 million for 2021-22 budgets. For the future and the sustainability of the market, we are now reintroducing the rent and service charge. I've met with traders and we've discussed the matter. We've put in place support for individual traders along with developing a joint working plan to ensure that the market is sustainable going forward. We're very keen and committed to St John's Market and we look forward to the future on building strength by strength this, I keep calling it the gem in the heart of our city. Thank you.
Thanks, Sharon. Any other comments? No? Are the recommendations as set out in the report agreed? We have one partially exempt report on the agenda today, so I suggest that we consider this as published on the main agenda at this meeting. Only the appendix to the report is exempt, so unless Cabinet members have any questions on those, we can consider this in public. Are there any questions on the exempt part? No? Okay, then we can consider that report now, which is item 3A, pages 33 to 39, which is the dissolution of SAP collaboration with Salford City Council and transition of that service delivery. And the recommendation seeks approval to end the 5-year collaboration on SAP software and back office systems with Salford City Council. The proposal includes a number of transition provisions which enable us to move to a new software delivery and support model. Are the recommendations as set out in the report agreed? Yep, thank you. We also have a supplementary agenda with one further public report to consider in the form of a detailed update on the Council's governance arrangements. That's item number 5, and report from the Select Committee, and it's on pages 40 to 174 of your papers. This report was considered at last night's meeting of the Audit and Governance Select Committee and acts as a detailed response to the points raised in a formal letter received from the Secretary of State for Housing, Communities and Local Government relating to the Council's governance arrangements, oversight and control measures. The report builds on the regular framework of governance updates to the Cabinet and the Audit and Governance Select Committee, which included detailed annual governance statements. In specific, this report provides us all with further details of measures and controls in relation to particular areas covered in the MHCLG letter. It's really important to be aware that the detailed information, measures and controls details have been implemented during the course of the last 2 years and have been subject to regular scrutiny at the Audit and Governance Committee and are well embedded within how the Council operates. As such, this is providing us further assurance that the Council has robust processes and governance controls in place. It was a very productive meeting last night. It was a pre-scrutiny before it came to Cabinet, which I think is really important. It gave the opportunity for members and members of the public, because obviously people can put in public questions. That document is a public document, to actually add to that document if they felt they needed to. And as I said at the committee last night, this is a living, working document. It will be regularly reviewed. It will be, used at all select committees, the processes within it. There is a member training package and an officer training package that will run alongside this as well, and also to refresh ourselves on the many procedures that we currently have and that have come in over recent years. I know training has been provided, but it's always useful for us all to update ourselves in that and ensure, we all take our individual responsibility as well as our collective responsibility on the Council. So, as I said, there was a lot of good questions and comments that were made in respect to the report last night that will be incorporated in their work programme going forward. And I know, as there is to all of our select committees, there's an open invitation for any elected member, to attend that. It's not just those on that committee. Do Cabinet members have any comments about the report? No? Okay, are the recommendations as set out in the report agreed? Thanks. We have no reports for agenda items 6 to 8. On item number 9, which is the mayoral announcements, obviously we're still in the national lockdown and in a very serious phase of the coronavirus outbreak and pandemic in the city. Over the last few days, we have seen our numbers slightly decrease, and there is hope that they are now starting to plateau. And obviously after that, we're hoping to come down. What we do know, from the research that has been done and our own data in the city, that it's sometime after that the hospital numbers and the pressures on the hospital start to decrease. Really, it's round about now that those pressures on the hospital will begin to build as people who've caught the virus become more unwell. And obviously we're in the winter period when the normal winter pressures that we have in our hospitals are also being faced. I think it's really important for us all, to continue to follow the guidance that's been given and to reiterate that wherever we can. Some of those really simple measures, particularly staying at home and reducing your risk of infecting others by lack of social contact is really important. We have seen how that has worked well, but also, you know, if you do need to go out either to work, to shop, to get medical assistance, etc., that, or you're at your daily exercise, that masks are worn and you stick by the rules of social isolating. I think as well, in respect to that, I'd like to place on my record my thanks, and I know we do this each time, but, you know, sort of particularly for all of those frontline workers, not just those in the NHS. I know they're at the really harsh end of it when people become unwell. There are many unpaid, you know, carers, you know, in the city and beyond who, you know, are having to cope with this, some of them alone and with limited support, given the, you know, social distancing that needs to take place. For all people working in public services, particularly our own staff, retail staff, public transport staff, you know, there's a whole host of people who have carried on, you know, for almost a year now. And, you know, I'm extremely grateful, as I know the Cabinet and the Council are to them, for the tremendous work that they've put in. As people may be aware, our budget consultation is currently ongoing. It went online on the 4th of January and is open for consultation until the 13th of February. So if people do go on, if you're watching in on the live stream, and put your comments on there for us to consider before final decisions are made at the beginning of March. We also have a consultation online on Article 4 in relation to permissive developments, and I know that's supporting us tackle problems around houses of multiple occupation, and that consultation is online till the 19th of Feb. So again, if people can go on around that. We've just discussed in the previous item our Audit and Governance Select Committee, and as part of our ongoing improvements, obviously the government have sent an inspection team, so I'd like to welcome Max Caller and the team who are currently undertaking their inspection. That started last week. They will be having 3 days per week, you know, in the council from now until March, and I know sort of officers, members, etc. have been cooperating openly and fully with that, and will continue to do so between that. We've also seen this week, you know, one of the impacts of the pandemic, and particularly in relation to school closures, on the dreadful food parcels that we've seen images of right across the media and social media. I'm proud to say, and I know Barbara as our Cabinet Member for Education, that the majority of our schools have chosen to go with vouchers that can be used in supermarkets, that the local authority are supporting them to distribute, and also the support that many councillors and the council have given to local communities in their efforts to keep people fed, keep them warm, through funding via our Mayoral Neighbourhood Fund, Mayoral Hardship Fund, and support that has been given to many food banks, community shops, food pantries, and then individual support that we've given from our council services, and additional funding that we've put into that for those who are in hardship. So I think, you know, it goes again, you know, it really does show that, you know, where we can distribute locally and tackle those problems locally, you know, we can really get to the heart in our communities of where there are issues. They're all the updates that I've got for this week. I hope in 2 weeks' time that we will have seen those numbers significantly decrease, and that, you know, sort of people are starting to recover. Anyone who is ill is starting to recover, and people will be looking forward, I know, to the spring and those summer months, and hopefully, you know, sort of a stronger recovery for the city as a whole. So that concludes today's formal meeting, and I hope everybody does stay safe and well, and do remember to keep to that guidance, stay inside as much as you possibly can, and stick to those rules if you do need to leave your home. So good morning everybody, and see everybody in a fortnight's time on the